What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Holeshot Hustle. I'm your host, Logan Mower, and today we've got a rad episode lined up.
That's right. I'm Joe Mower, and this one's all about grit, goals, and getting after it. We're hanging out with a seriously driven young racer, Ammon Pulsipher, and his awesome family. But before we get rolling, we've got something big to celebrate. Today's kind of a milestone. My man Logan just turned 13 years old.
Yeah, finally a teenager. I guess that officially means I get to start ignoring your texts now, huh?
You've been ignoring my text for a while now. But seriously, dude, happy birthday. You've been working hard on the track, on the show, and you're handling it like a champ, and I couldn't be more proud of you.
Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it. But I think a full tank of Renegade Racing Fuel would be a better gift.
A smooth transition there. Let's hear it.
I love Renegade Race Fuel. It's one of my favorite products. I've been running Renegade SX2, their two-stroke fuel, for years, and man, it rips. If you're chasing podium performance, SX2 is your fuel.
That's right. From humble beginnings in a one-car garage, Renegade Race Fuels has grown into a global powerhouse, serving racers everywhere.
What started small has turned into something huge, built by racers for racers, with quality small batch fuel that delivers serious performance.
And they've never lost focus on what matters most, grassroots racers just like you.
If you're chasing in podium performance, Renegade is your fuel. But people often ask me, where do I get it?
We get our Renegade fuel from Jenkins Oil Company right here in Cedar City, Utah.
Jenkins Oil is a family-owned business located at 1100 Industrial Road, and they've always got what you need.
Go check out the full line of Renegade products at renegaderacefuel.com and pick yours up today from Jenkins Oil Company right here in Cedar City, Utah. Give them a call today at 435-586-6931.
We are super excited to have Ammon Pulsipher in the studio today. He started out in desert racing, then made the switch to motocross, and now he's been grinding his way up through the ranks, training with some of the best in the business, chasing that Loretta Lynn's dream.
We dive into how the Pulsifers got into racing, how their family rebuilt the legendary Jackrabbits Club, and what it really takes. Early mornings, long days, and a ton of heart to chase a national championship.
You'll hear how Ammon's gone from riding quads on a farm to racing at Daytona, training with Kyle Lewis and the Albertsons, and learning what it really means to push past your limits.
It's a killer mix of racing stories, family grit, and that never-quit mindset. Whether you race moto, desert, or just love the smell of race fuel, you're going to get fired up about this one.
Let's drop the gate and get into it. Here's episode 12 of the Holeshot Hustle with Ammon Pulsipher.
Let's do it.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going good. How are you guys?
Good.
We're doing great. It's great to have you guys on the show. We want to welcome Ammon, Kyle, and Sadie to the show. It's been quite a process to get you guys on. This is something that started way back, I think, in like maybe February. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to finally get you in the studio.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for not giving up on us.
Of course, you guys have been busy.
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been following you all, spring and summer, and you guys have just been traveling the world. It seems like, yeah. Why don't let's figure out a spot to start? Should we start at the beginning, maybe? Yeah, let's start at the beginning, and that might begin with you, Kyle. I assume you started riding bikes years ago, right?
No, I never had a motorcycle. I guess I take that back. I inherited my grandma's 1974 Honda XR75. Had some blinkers on it and a headlight and all that good stuff. And we didn't have hardly any paved roads. And I always tried to get it to go as fast as it would go. It had a speedometer. And it said it would go 75 or 80, but I never could get it past 50. So that's where my motorcycle experience started, and I wore that thing out on the farm, and then I went into quads. So we did my Sadie and I rode quads when we were dating even. So anyway, I didn't know anything about motorcycles until I've been married a couple years, and she surprised me and brought me home a brand new CRF 450R. Like, what was it, 2002?
I'd say. I was going to say, yeah. That's the kind of wife every man needs right there.
Yeah.
Brings you home a dirt bike, yeah?
Yeah, so in 2002, she brought this dirt bike home to me, and I was like, holy cow, that's so awesome. And it just so happened there happened to be a race in 2002 in Moapa. That's where I was living and from. And I showed up there drinking a 44-ounce Mountain Dew with my cowboy boots on. I had a helmet I borrowed from somebody. And my friend that taught me into racing, he's all, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? We're just going to ride motorcycles today." He's all, "No, there's athletes here, and they've been like, they're hydrating and they're doing all this stuff." He says, "What are you drinking that for?" And I'm like, "Okay, whatever, I'll be fine." And then, like, I was kind of feeling a little out of place because everybody had their gear on and their pants, and I didn't know anything like that. And next thing I know, she showed up with a brand new bag with all the boots in it and the helmet and everything. And it was super. I remember I was like, we were broke. We were married, first married with a couple kids. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I still have that bag and that gear and that helmet in those boots. I'm not letting it go.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I didn't keep the motorcycle very long because that dirt bike race made me so sore and so tired that I got busy raising family and kids. So in 2003 or 4, it was sitting in my garage and some guy wanted it as a trade on a deal or something. And I traded it off and I didn't ride for 20 years after that.
Wow.
Dang.
I had no idea. I figured you were like born into it, and from what I'd heard, I just figured, oh man, Kyle's been doing it his whole life.
He's a good rider. That's fine.
Oh no, I do like it, but I think it's because it's so challenging for me,
right?
And it's not as easy as people think it is. So and we got into it during COVID, back into it again.
Gotcha.
So that's when this one again, my wife, COVID hits and she pulls the kids out of school and pulls them out of school. We're not wearing masks. We're not doing this and that. So she bought. I had just bought him a 65 right before that, and I was kind of thinking about buying me one too. And she took us all down to the Yamaha dealership, and I walked away with like 4 or 5 bikes that day.
Wow.
And a side by side, and that's what we started doing during COVID.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like to go fast.
Yeah. Do you ride too?
No, I'm not allowed to ride. He's very chivalrous. Women don't ride. I shouldn't say. Maybe cut
You're
that.
gonna make that look bad. I should say mom shouldn't ride.
Mom shouldn't ride.
Mom shouldn't ride.
He doesn't want to see me get hurt.
I don't like
but
seeing my mom
He
get
and
hurt.
I were
Right.
married, and we rode 250Rs.
Yeah.
And one of the fun things about is he always told me when we were dating, he says, if you see a cop, don't stop. And sure enough, there's the highway patrol. So I had to drop it in second and lit him up with rocks and outran him.
Wow.
And so I love speed. I'm an athlete. I mean, so I love everything about it. So this has been super fun. But no, I don't ride.
Well, and you guys do the Jackrabbits, right? So how did that come about?
You had to bring that up, huh?
Do you guys want to talk about what the Jackrabbits is?
We do. We love the Jackrabbits. So we got so heavily involved in desert motorcycle racing, and we had 3 years into it, and a couple of my friends and I have a lot of relatives and my brother rides out in Moapa, and cousins and friends and anyway, so they all rallied around and they said, "Hey, we ought to put on a race." Well, I think a couple of them said that. And so I said, okay, yeah, sounds fun. We're already part of the Wild Bunch club, and so we were helping them mark their courses and stuff like that. And they told me about a couple of defunct clubs that have been around forever. They said, well, instead of starting fresh, why don't you reach out to the guys that already had a club and maybe try to revive some of those. And so I didn't know it was going to be such an extensive interview. I went and talked to the current president of the Jackrabbits, and he interviewed me over the phone. And 3 months later, he interviewed me again, and then I had to meet at his house and I didn't know it was interviews. I just felt like he was like looking back. I think he was just not wanting to turn it over to anybody that was going to let it go by the wayside, and he would rather just hold on to it himself because he had put so much. Their club and their past members have put so much heart into what they were doing that they just wanted to be remembered like that forever. And so anyway, he set the bar high and he told me, you know, if I turn this over, keep it with the AMA. Because since then, Moran had moved away from the AMA. He says, I want this club to stay with the AMA, and I want you to keep doing it. When you do it right, stay organized, try to do a really good job. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he kept just hammering me all these things that needed to happen, even though it's all volunteer. And at some point, I was like, I don't know if I should want to take this on. But we put on a race in Cedar City, and it was a desert GP, and we had to go through a lot of grief with Moran because it didn't follow in with their desert racing rule book.
Right.
It wasn't quite the length of course they would like, and they want it to be, you know, quite a few miles. And there's a lot of things to it. They don't like to charge gate fees. Mm-hmm. It was on private property. I'd charge a gate fee and camping, and so it goes to vote, and every year it seems like it goes to vote on something that we're doing, and it's always 7 to 8, 6 to 7.
So is it like a committee then?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Every club that's a part of Moran gets 2 votes.
Got you.
Yeah, and so if you're going to do anything that's variance from the rule book, they want to vote on it as a committee.
I see.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've done that a couple of years. We did 2 races in Cedar City that I thought were fairly successful. People showed up and supported us.
And that's called Battle of the Borders, right?
Yeah, Battle of the Borders.
Yeah.
We signed up for the last one. We had to pull out because Logan got sick.
Yeah.
Right, as soon as we signed him up, he would come down with the flu. But yeah, we hope if you do it again, we hope to make it out there.
Yeah, we're wanting to do it again. We this last year we did in February, right before we went to South America. We did our desert race in Moapa, and we did it as a National Hare and Hound. And Umora is the Utah version of Moran. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're a little different in the sense that they think that if the race is good for the riders, then it's good for the entire club and the entire organization. And so they reviewed our stuff and they said, yeah, this will be fun for everybody. Let's do it. And so we did it with Umora and National Hare and Hound this last year in February.
Very cool.
But yeah, our volunteers, I don't have a ton of people that are chasing race points, but they're, like I say, friends and family members, and they show up and they help. I have a lot of people that don't even ride motorcycles at all that show up and help.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
So this has been a really recent thing then too, the Jackrabbits.
Very recent. Yeah. And I love laying out the trails. I'm not going to lie to you. And so to me, I feel like that's where Ammon and I get a little bonding time. Yeah. And he's the one that's, if there's something hard on our course, it's because he tried it and was able to conquer it. So I'll add it in. But most of the time, I don't like to try stuff like that until I see that somebody says, oh, yeah, that can be done.
They can blame Ammon.
Yeah. So you can blame Ammon for anything you didn't like about our race courses.
So was your first bike then? Was it a 65 Yamaha?
No, it was a Cowie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
he had the Yamaha though.
Oh, okay.
He went out with the big bike 450.
But you started on a 65 when you guys went and bought those 5 bikes that day. That was your first dirt bike?
Yeah, they got all new ones. I got a used one.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a 2012 I bought used. It was pretty clapped out, but we kept it running for a year.
I'm just glad I didn't have a new one.
And how old were you?
I was 10 at the time, I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
Huh.
You were 12, buddy.
You're 12.
Oh, 12. I don't even know how that is. But
So how was riding that?
the KX, I didn't really ride it as much. I did hit my knee on a rail guard because I didn't know how to ride. And so what I did is I gave up for 6 months. It's okay if I tell the story?
Yeah, you should tell the story.
So there's a story, and my dad had a couple buddies that he met on his mission come out, and they rode my KX and kind of did complain a little bit about it. And I was tired of hearing him whining, so I did get back on the bike after 6 months. And then that's when I got on and never got off, really.
Well, it wasn't my buddies; it was their kids.
They're kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was your first race then? Desert race.
Was it? I think it was Panaca.
Gotcha.
It was in Panaca, Nevada. It was a desert race, right?
It was a gambler's race in January.
Okay.
And I remember him watching him the whole entire time, go as fast as he could. And he came back. He's like, Dad, you see me hit those jumps? See how fast I was going? And I was like, yeah, you were moving, dude. Even though I was thinking he was like a little snail out there. I was like, yeah, you were flying. I kept telling him you're going so fast.
So how old are you now?
I'm 17.
17. So you've got about 5 years
Yeah.
on the bikes. Right on. Well, I know, I first heard about you guys through the Shakespeares. And we were out for a couple of years. Logan kind of retired at the first part of 23, and then we took 2 seasons off. But I know as we started to come back, you were a name we were hearing everywhere, and especially the Shakespeares. You guys are friends with the Shakespeares, and so Todd and River are like, man, this kid is, he is fast. He's so fast, and we started to hear it everywhere. So, how did you make the transition from desert racing to moto? What was the inspiration?
It was mostly my mom. We were seeing all these moto kids come down in the desert and just dominating. So we thought we'd just do the opposite and just train moto. And that's all we did is we just trained motocross and then put it in desert. We noticed a big difference. And so we just okay, we'll just keep trying this. And then in GPs, we just dominate in that just from training moto.
Right.
And so we just made the transition from there. I realized I loved it and I liked how hard it was. I mean, sure, I could do 100 miles of desert, do two loops of 100 miles, different classes, easy. But I feel like moto, just sprinting as hard as you can, is just harder.
Yeah.
Right.
Just sprinting. Because you're just at that high heart rate. Desert, you can kind of relax, breathe. Sure, there's some rocks here and there. They are sketchy, but it's just not as high as a heart rate.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Desert looks super scary to me, especially, the gal that we had in here for the episode that came out today. She does a lot of desert and off-road and stuff. And she was saying a lot of that off-road stuff, you don't even get to ride the course first. You just have to head out and go. That sounds bananas to me, from a motor perspective. I mean, you usually have a practice day, you get used to the track, it sounds nuts to just head out in the desert going as fast as you can, wide open.
Yeah, it's basically doing a gnarly turn track.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's this big loop, just as many miles. It's some will be 2 50-mile loops. It's just crazy with the big starts they do too.
Right.
You'd have maybe 100 guys on one line and funnels into this little flags that you have to go through. It's crazy though. The beginning of it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you feel like moto guys dominated in the? I could definitely see that maybe moto guys. We've raced some GPs, and I could definitely see moto guys maybe dominating desert guys in GPs where you got track. But do you feel like the moto guys would still dominate in just straight up off road, hare and hound type stuff?
Mostly, yeah. I'd see
Were they really?
kids in the super mini class. Yeah, they'd transfer. They'd give them a year. They'd just dominate.
That's interesting. I've never put Logan in any of those kind of things, so I have no experience to see how he would do. But my feeling was I would think that the desert kids would just dominate the moto kids in that setting.
Yeah.
But certainly in the track setting, it seems like the moto kids usually dominate the desert
It's just
kids.
mostly the moto kids just know how to hold the power band.
Gotcha.
Mostly, I mean, when you're out in the desert, you just give it enough to go and stuff. But moto kids just know how to rail, really.
Right.
How was your first motor race transferring from desert and just trying out your first motor race?
Trying out my first motocross race that's why I say it was hard. I mean, I came back with a smile, but I knew it was for me as soon as I did that motocross race because I did a lot of the Thanksgiving classes race too, just for fun. We'd hit it up, but then I just realized that it was harder. And I wanted to do it. It was a good experience for sure.
Where did you race your first moto race?
Mesquite.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it on the 65?
It was actually on the Super Mini.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the 125, so I'd do both races on it.
Oh, okay. What kind of bike did you have at that point?
I had a KTM 105 and then a KTM 125.
How'd you feel about that in comparison with Cowie?
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
You like it better? I've heard the rider triangle is kind of bad on the Cowie.
There wasn't really good enough experienced rider to notice between the Cowie. My dad gave me a bike and I just ride.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So was this the Thanksgiving Classic then that you raced the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you do your first race?
I don't even know. I can't remember. I just know I got my butt kicked.
Dead last.
Was it?
I was
Just
like
about,
22nd. Yeah.
Well, and the reason he even started training moto was because he wasn't anticipating desert and the corners and
Right.
things and being able to corner well. So we started out with Josh and Josh Knight, and that was his first training session on his 85 because I wanted him to understand how to corner and turn. And I feel like any good sport, football, anything you're doing, you're going to have a good coach. You're going to have good trainers. So I didn't want him to just go out there and ride and get hurt. This was, he needed training.
Right.
And so, especially if he was going to catch up. But
Sadie, pull that a little bit closer to you. There you go.
yeah, so I just feel like good trainers can take them further. And so that's when he really started to shine in the desert, is after he started training moto. And then we took him to the Thanksgiving Classic, 2022? I mean, it wasn't too long ago. And he did okay. He thought he could whip.
22nd.
It wasn't a whip, but, it was something. But really, I just feel like it was good training.
I'm sure cornering,
Yeah.
especially in Mesquite, is
Yeah.
vastly different than trying to flat track corners in the desert, right? Was that a huge adjustment to try and come from more slick and maybe hard packed corners to those deep ruts? Because RMX rips them deep.
Yeah.
They really do. I feel like I more struggled with the braking bumps because it was definitely
really?
different. Yeah, but transferring, I didn't really hit that many corner tracks when I was little. With riding with my dad, we just go basically ride hard enduro, sand whoops, and if there was a little sand berm, we'd hit that. But I think I really got more into corners as soon as I started training with Gavin and Riley Ruff.
Right.
Yeah, so that's when I really got into it.
Gotcha.
What were your thoughts at the start gate right before you went out for your first motocross race?
Get a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen though. Not on my first one.
Were you a little bit scared on going on the start with those many kids going for your first race?
I was for sure scared of getting hit. I was like, I know how chaotic those kind of starts can be because everyone's so aggressive right out the gate. But I definitely for sure say I was scared of getting hit.
Now, this was before they changed the start corner, too, probably. This is when they had the better sweeper corner.
yeah.
Right now, it's, that corner now makes me nervous as heck. Yeah. Which corner do you like better? Do you like it now or did you like it back then?
I kind of liked it back then. It was more wide, but I do like how this one's more sharper. Because
Gotcha.
if you can get that inside, you have it, really.
Yeah. If you get the start on this new one, you've pretty much got the moto sewn up.
Yeah.
Everybody just spaces out so bad, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what year was this that you did your first moto?
I believe it was, 22.
22.
Did my first actual race because I think I tried to do the Thanksgiving Classic in 21, but I got really badly hurt.
Gotcha.
And so I kind of skipped out. Then we did 22, and that's when we really started getting into it.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
Right about the time we were starting to get out. I'm sure we were at that race, the
I'm pretty
one
sure
in
you guys
22.
were,
So
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm curious. So when you line up on the desert and the bomb start is 100 yards on each side of riders,
Yeah.
does that make you more nervous than the gate, which is 30?
For some reason, no.
Really?
No, I don't get as nervous because I know I'm more watching them to my left. But on an 85, when there's people like that, no. But on the big bike starts, it wouldn't be as bad as nervous, but it'd be the same kind of level. Because so many people will cut you off so hard in desert. You eat the dirt, and so many guys don't see you. Yeah. But in moto, it's kind of different because you see them coming at you, and they see you. It's basically it's basically chicken.
Yeah.
Playing the game chicken.
That's true.
Yes, but in desert, you have miles to catch up to the lead.
That
in
too.
his last National Hare and Hound, when he took that championship, the rider he needed to pass, it took him 32 miles to catch him. He got a better start.
Wow.
And so you have time in desert, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time in moto. It's who gets to that corner 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah. On starts on desert, I don't really try. I just know I'll just catch them. I'll eat all the dust they want. I'll get them. In moto, though, I kind of have to speed that process up.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick with that story?
Yeah. What story?
You don't really try because I beat you on the start almost every time.
You talking about the Idaho time? How many hours did you come on behind me? 1 hour? You can have the start all day. The time says it.
And Kyle, do you ride moto too?
No, we're talking about the desert races. We started starting in the same line.
Right.
We were both racing expert, and so I'd always beat him to the first flag.
Yes, he races moto.
But
Not
do
always.
you race moto at all? Do you get into that at all?
I got to drink at least 2 bucked ups and a Red Bull before I get super excited about it. But I do like to race the local stuff because, I'm more familiar with it.
Gotcha.
It feels like the moto to me exposes every one of my weaknesses that I'm never going to be able to fix in the first lap.
So do you race down in Mesquite? Is that where you mainly race?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys from Cedar or St. George?
Vegas.
Oh, Vegas.
Yeah. We're out of Moapa, Nevada.
You guys don't live there now, though.
No, we live in St. George right now.
You did live in St. George.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Do you guys go out and ride at Warner a lot? I saw you. Looks like you
Yeah.
guys were out
Oh, yeah.
doing some well-earned desert racing, desert riding anyway, after you got back from Loretta's here recently. Yeah? How was that?
Oh, hard enduro is just my favorite kind of riding too.
Is it really?
I'd say I love it all, but like when I get back, I kind of like that because it's more technical.
So you like riding over the tires and the rock pits and stuff like that? You like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, those are fun, but like the trail, I like just trail riding with my dad too.
Gotcha.
After like a long year of freaking riding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just always good to ride with him again.
I'll bet that felt good to get for you, Dad, to get out there and ride with your boy again. I know that's the main thing I miss with, when we're doing motocross. I feel like I'm just standing and watching, but when he takes some time off, I get to get out there and, rekindle that bond that we had, how we originally started. And we originally started trail riding, huh? Yeah. I bet that felt good to get out there and do that again.
It did. I get some exercise while I'm out there, and we have these Cardo helmet communication devices.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
If you're going to ride with your kid, it changes the whole dynamic of riding probably by 10.
I'll bet.
So a lot of times I'm catching my breath, and when you say hard enduro, he's riding up a cliff, or he's finding some rock that he's doing a splat on or something, and I'm just trying to keep up and catch my breath for a minute. But so it's not like we're just picking along on a little goat trail. It's always, I'm going to try that, or let's go see if we can conquer that little section over there. So there's always something new. So
Well, what's crazy is nobody really knows this, but the year before Loretta's, he was racing expert at Silver King Hard Enduro. I mean, then he decided maybe I'll just go for this Loretta's thing.
Yeah.
So it was just, he rides it all.
And tell me about the inspiration for the grind to Loretta's. When did that start? I'm sure it started earlier than when we were talking about doing the show. You probably started planning for that all the way last year, yeah? Mm-hmm. Tell me about your inspiration to head to Loretta's.
So actually, a year ago before the Loretta's, I got knocked out at Fox. I came over the jump, I cased it, got thrown, knocked out, and the next day I still raced, and I just had this pain in my left side really bad, and I still raced. I tried my best, but I didn't really feel like I did my best. Like I felt like I wasn't there, and I feel like I could have qualified if I was just 100% strength. And so right after that season, I told my mom, I want to go back at it. I want this.
Gotcha.
So I went back at it, just went hard just for a whole year, just wanting it.
So you crashed at a qualifier, like a regional?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Fox.
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah,
Fox
I've
has
had
been
some
awful to him.
bad
Every time we go to Fox,
memories.
like we come away with some sort of injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep going, but we did, huh? Yeah.
I like the track, but for some reason, every time I get like a really bad crash, but like it's a fun track.
It's very flowy, though. That's what always has us going back. It's always flowy.
Yeah. What's your favorite Southern California track?
Southern California. I'd say I really like Paris, but I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
But I also like Cahuilla. I think that's how you say it, right?
I say Cahuilla, but I don't know how you say it. I have
I'm just
no
gonna shoot
idea.
my shot. Cahuilla is really fun too, but I haven't been there in a while.
And it's a really fast, like almost supercross kind of jump track, yeah?
Yeah. What I've heard, they definitely started putting more supercross kind of jumps back there, but like they still got some sweet tables. But
Right on.
yeah.
So you decided that you were going to grind and head to Loretta's, and tell me about the process once that switch flipped.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely took me from my friends and mostly my family because I had to be gone mostly, and it definitely took early mornings, late nights, and I just no social. I honestly didn't want to talk on race days. On like from Thursday to Sunday, I didn't really want to talk until the weekend was over, and then as soon as training would start again, I just do everything I was told and more, basically, and I just wanted it so bad.
And were you mainly training with Riley and those guys then?
For the first couple months, I started with Riley first. Then we'd go down to Kyle Lewis and train up with him in California. I think for like 2 to 3 weeks we'd do it. I remember this one time we were up there for like a month, and he'd come pick me up. We'd go to Fox. We'd go to the tracks. And then after we did that for a couple of months, my mom talked to Greg Albertson, and they said, yeah, send him out. And so we just went there for like, 4 months?
The month of October only.
Just the month of October, and we just loved it so much, so we just kept going back.
And is that Club MX?
No, that's Game Moto.
Game, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Right on.
So the process, do you want to talk about the process?
You're a mastermind of the process.
So the process is it takes a whole family.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have the mom 100% in, and some moms, it's hard for them, you know, because you have other kids at home. But we're a big believer in visions, and like you write it down, it'll come to pass. And as long as you execute the hard. And one of the biggest lessons I learned as I was raising my kids is if you calendar it, you'll do it. So we calendared everything, and we have this big A calendar from Jesse Eitzler, you know, and literally, I'll have to send you a picture of it. And literally every race, every training was calendared on it. So when he went and lived, he was 16 at the time, and he went and lived with Greg Albertson at an RV. Kyle drove him out there, dropped him off. He had to cook for himself. He had to trust that he was going to get up. But we also started to engage other trainers, you know. And so there was just, every race was calculated and written down before we even went, and everything. Like it was a well-oiled machine. And there were hiccups for sure, don't get me wrong, but it had to be calendared and executed. And he had to, honestly, I'll bring up the Shakespeares for this point. They were watching at the time and watching Ammon and saying, you know, what does River have to do? And I says, well, I keep Ammon away from all of his friends.
Yeah.
I says, you have to homeschool and you have to pull them away from everything if you want something this big, because it's a big commitment, Loretta's, and it's a lot of money, and you can't get distracted if you want something. So he became known in Oklahoma as the White Mamba, you know, because he was so focused. He wouldn't, almost to a fault,
right.
You know, because you're like, are you going to leave the trailer and go make friends? No, you know, and so it became kind of, sometimes I was like, Ammon, go outside and make friends. It's okay, you know.
My first week up there, I was called Mouse.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't talk, and I just stay there. And I remember driving up with GC and Greg up to this race up in, I think it was Montana. And so on the way up there, I just wouldn't talk.
It was in,
We'll help him with his geography.
Yeah.
It was in Neosho, Missouri.
Missouri,
Okay.
that's what it was. And stuff. But on the way up there, I just wouldn't talk, and GC's like, I got to get you a nickname. What's the nickname? And then I wouldn't talk, and he just said Mouse. And I'm like, okay. So now every kid that comes up to me, they'll say Mouse, Mouse. I'm like,
He's either
what?
Mighty or Mickey.
Mighty.
Mighty or Mickey, huh?
Yeah.
So how's your routine off the track? Is it hard to stay healthy and strong?
Mostly I do definitely want to go buy Oreos while I'm there. But yeah, you want to know about my routine, right? I'd wake up. There was this one time I had to wake up at 3 just so I could do my stuff and also pick up him at like 4 or 5. So I had to pick up him, though I definitely had early mornings. But my most consistent would be like 4 a.m., get up, I'd do my stretching, and I'd get in the ice bath, and then I'd head to my workout by 5. Before I go to my workout, I'll have breakfast, steak and eggs, and just keep going. And then as soon as it hits 5, I'll be at the gym, do my workout for an hour. I'll come back, I'll go for a run to warm myself back up and everything. And then after I do all that, I get my bike ready, and it's mostly around like 6 or 7, and we And we mostly train around 8 or 9. So he'll have those kind of mornings. And so if it's like 8, I'll get up same time. If it's 9, I'll probably treat myself to 5 a.m.
Gotcha.
But it's just mostly early mornings, and we'll just stretch and all that. Really.
How many hours do you train or ride during the day?
We train from like 9 to 2 mostly. And then after that, after we get done riding, I'd head back to the gym,
Gotcha.
get my bike prepped ready for tomorrow, make sure everything's good. And then I'd head back to the gym for another session.
Wow.
And then I'd come back and then I'd basically give myself some me time off the phone, no social media till I go to sleep. So basically, I shut everything off at like 7.
Wow, that's quite a grind. Did you
Yeah.
do that? How many days a week did you do that?
All the way up to Loretta's.
Like, did you do it like every day?
Every day. I treat myself on Sunday. I treat myself on that day. I'd go to church, but I wouldn't push as hard. But then everything was like early mornings.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
So-
is that all? Was that all you 100% self-motivated just because you were so laser focused on that goal?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just wanted it.
It's really cool to hear you guys talk about, my wife and I were always kind of at odds with it. My wife was into it at first a little bit, but I think the more, all of a sudden now we need 2 bikes. And then when we started doing 65s and 85s, well, now we need 4 bikes. And, it just got it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that the more we moved along and the more financially taxing it was, I think the more she started to kind of check out, and we were kind of at odds. And so it's really cool to hear you guys, basically, it sounds like you all basically arrived at, that's the goal, and we're all 100% committed, and the calendaring, and let's make it happen. And you did. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I told my parents I wanted to do it, and they were just all in with it.
Wow.
A couple side notes with that, that maybe some details I'll add to what
Yeah, I
Ammon's
haven't
saying.
been adding good details to
So
it.
Ammon is the youngest of 6. And so Sadie's done this with all of my kids. If they were into dance or volleyball or tennis, whatever they wanted to do, she would push them as hard as they wanted to go.
Right.
I have one daughter that's a concert violinist, and she practiced 4 and 5 hours a day, every day. And there was a lot of times that we didn't even ask her to practice. So this isn't anything new when it comes to her program. Another thing that I want to point out too is I made a friend in Kyle Lewis and then Dave Schmidt, who's a suspension guy.
I know Dave, yeah.
Yeah. So Dave's turned into one of my good friends. And he told me, he says, listen, if you're going to keep doing this, you got to train, then you have to race on the weekends.
Right.
You got to race somewhere on the weekends. You got to get gate drops.
You
don't have enough gate drops. You're way behind. And so we were doing that in California. And then when he ended up going out to Oklahoma, I couldn't be there every weekend, but there was a lot of weekends that I'd probably every other weekend.
Yeah.
I'd show up and take him racing somewhere because the training's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday is left for racing somewhere, or you're on your own.
Right.
You're supposed to go race.
Well, it's mostly like he'll give us an off day on Friday for not racing. But if Greg sees a race that's that weekend, he'd encourage us to go do that. But like there were mostly it was just by yourself, and you'd have to do your thing, get your bike ready, laundry and stuff.
So Sadie would calendar those races that I could attend, and it was probably at least 2 times a month that I was flying out there to take him racing somewhere.
Wow.
So we were able to go to Muskogee, Oklahoma, and Neosho, Missouri, and Norman, Oklahoma. We were racing. So we raced a lot. We raced sand tracks in some other little town in Oklahoma, down by the river. This guy had a crazy track, and they'd go race that.
Yeah.
At that point, I probably could have got on a bike and kept up with them. It was so sandy.
And there's some fast kids out there
Yeah.
too. If you don't leave this area that much, you get to thinking, you see some fast California kids, and you get to thinking you've got a handle on it. But yeah, when you get back to Loretta's and stuff, and then you really see wow, there's a lot of super fast guys.
Yeah.
Was that your experience? Did you was it like a real eye-opening experience to race some of these kids in these different places?
Not much of an eye experience, but I definitely knew my competition. I knew how fast they were going to be, and there were just some insane kids that actually surprised me that were actually really fast. but mostly I just knew I just wanted it. I just knew that most of them were fast, and I knew I had to play catch up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like when I went to Loretta's, I thought I was going to get at least like top 15 probably because I was like racing Campigli, Sawyer, like all these top guys that I thought were going to be like one of the top people. Nope, but as soon as I got there, there's like 40 riders on the line, and I got out that gate, and then like literally like almost a whole pack past me. I'm like, holy cow, how fast are these kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some amazing talent there. Unbelievable talent. So
I'm curious to ask you, Sadie. You sound a lot like me. I haven't had that many kids, and Logan has been my first real experience
Yeah.
taking something that he turned from just a hobby into like he had a goal. And I was kind of the same way. My mindset was like, all right, I'm all in. I'm 100%. Let's, here's the roadmap, and I had a tendency to push. And I would always try to check with him, like, do you want me to push? Because I didn't want to like go over the line and then have it not be fun. My dad did racehorses,
Okay.
and my three brothers hated it. He was mean. He was pushy about it. None of them wanted anything to do with it, but they all had to be his jockey and do the chores like it,
Yeah.
my thing is your thing and we're all going to do it. Right. And I didn't want to be that kind of person. And so, but I also knew that he, would need a little push, to keep his eye on the prize. I mean, he was very young when we started. I think you were 7.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure at that age they really have a huge concept, of what it's going to take. But I felt like in the end, at the end of 22, when he kind of was like, he'd done Loretta's, he won the RMX series. And I think at that point, I could see that he was starting to just check out. And
Burn out.
yeah, and I felt like he did. And he finally said, I want to do some other stuff. Let's take a year off. And a year turned into 2. How has your experience been with that? Because it sounds like you're similar. You these guys describe you as the push behind them. Have you ever had an experience with any of your kids where you felt like it went too far, or have you had a really good handle on it the whole time and been a really good balance for it?
So I think my kids would say, I don't know what they would say.
say what you would say.
Let's say what I would say. I don't feel like I am pushy, like I have pushed them. I feel like I gave opportunity. So my oldest daughter did MMA. And so if she told me she wanted to compete, I would say, okay, let's find you a competition. And if she changed her mind, we didn't do it. It was the same way with my other daughter with violin. If she wanted to, do really well, then I'd say, well, do you want to have a lesson with Jenny Oaks Baker? And she'd say yes. And I'd say, okay, let's go do that. So, and my daughter was a dancer and she quit everything I ever put her in. I'm like, do you want to do ukulele? I just always felt like kids needed something. They need to have structure. They need to have a goal. They need to have a plan for their day. I don't want them just going to school, coming home and doing nothing. We've got to do something. And to me, like,
I love that. Yeah.
Being LDS as members of the church, I feel like you need to know how to play the piano.
Sure.
Because you need to be able to volunteer. And that's the background I came from. So I played softball competitively and volleyball. So my mom was a coach. So it's like inbred in me to coach. So I don't feel like maybe I'm Coach Push. That's what you could call me. I don't know. But, when Ammon said to me, like, hey, Mom, I want to do Loretta's. I said, okay, we need to write down your goals. What's the plan? How do you plan on executing this? So when he went to live with at Game Moto, and March is really when he stayed there full time. October, we brought him home. We did a lot of training with Kyle Lewis over that, and then we took him back in March. And I said, well, what's your day like? And he wrote down his day. And I said, well, Dad and I have to hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. And so he would just return a report at night and tell us what he did. He was expected to read a book a month. If he had some school left to do, but he had to read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Outliers, Millionaire whatever. He had to read financial books that were going to be more useful to him than
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, game changer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And The 5-Minute Salesman, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he he wrote out his plan, and then honestly, all my kids, I just trusted him. I just think you give him the tools, and but his dad did say, if you don't execute, then we're pulling it, you know. There was a few threats a few times.
Did you? So you guys, you did
we
have to
worked
once in a
together.
while. You did have to.
Once in a while, of course, he's a kid. He's
Sure.
16, 17. He's not perfect. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'd lose my stuff, you know? Okay, you know, like really, like for instance, he has this coach from Florida, Greg D. I call him Coach Greg. And he's a sports performance doctor. And there was something, Ammon missed a workout. I saw him post all these workouts with Max Shane and Kane Bolson. And I text Greg and I go, was Ammon supposed to be at that workout? He's like, yeah. I said, because if he's not there, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, I love your mom. She's a very passionate woman. You know, and we hadn't even met, but he knew that Ammon needed to be dialed, you know, and miscommunications happen, things like that.
It was definitely a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't
But
know.
he posted
I didn't
on
know about the work.
he posted it on social media, and I'm like, why is my son not in that video? You know. So pushy or not, I don't know. Call it what you want, but the kid had a goal. But I did do what you do. I do check up and say, do you want to race this race?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that parent that's pushing. So, you know, I think as parents, we're always on that checkup, like checking on ourselves, because we don't want him to burn out. We want it to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
There would be time. I mean, I'm definitely. There's definitely been. I've had my share of moto dad moments where I'm back at camp, going, you know, frustrated, throwing something, and I'm like, what? You know, what was that? You know what I mean? And I always feel bad, you know, when we're leaving the track and things have calmed down. If that's happened, I would usually kind of, you know, ask him, you know, dude, sorry, number one, sorry, you know, that's not how I want to be, but do you want me to quit pushing you? And he would usually say,
No.
he'd be like, Dad, no, I need it, you know, and I'd be like, okay, you know, but I look back at that 2022 season and I go, was I a part of that? Or, you know, did he really just kind of check all these boxes? You know, I think in his mind, you know, a lot of these kids, they get in and they go, Loretta's. And he did. And seems like for him, that was enough. Like, you know, for me, I was like, well, let's keep going. You know, you were top 20. Let's be in the teens next time. Let's, you know, and he was just kind of like, I don't know, Dad. I think I kind of checked that, but I'm hoping that like maybe with a foot in it still, maybe, you know, when he gets to be a little older, a little bit more mature,
Yeah.
he'll still have the chops. Yeah.
Ammon was older. We didn't start when we were 5, 6, 7.
Right.
You know, where you have those, you know, moto dad moments or whatever. So
Yeah.
Ammon was older. He was hard on himself as it was. Kyle's had more moto dad moments, honestly, with him than me.
Really?
Yes, way more. Me, I'm just out there cheering.
Hey, so Ammon, tell these guys why you called me a bad dad.
Okay.
I've been called a bad dad by not only Ammon, but his coaches, the people that see me maintain my motorcycles. And somehow I'm still involved in this.
So be interesting. You seem really chill.
Yeah. So he's making it sound like I just said it recently. I actually said it when I first started out in the KX.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were riding out the dunes with my cousins and my uncles, and we were all out there. They're all on big bikes, and the thing is, in Moapa, it's all sand dunes, and on a KX 65, it's just like a pizza cutter. It won't move in that sand unless you're wide. And I was new to it, so I wouldn't hit that power band at all. I liked it calm. I didn't like the sound at all. And I remember I was going up this steep hill to me, and all of them were at the top watching me. And I get stuck, and I start digging it down into the sand really deep. And it was 120 degrees. He's out there, and I remember looking up at my dad.
And you had cargos on.
Yeah, I remember we had our Cenos in and everything. At the time, it was Cenos.
What'd you say? Are you not going to come help me?
I'm getting to that. And I look at my dad and I go, are you going to come out and help me? And he chuckles. He goes, no. And I'm like, you're a bad dad. For a long time, I thought when I was little that story would never be told again. It's still being brought up after everything I've done now. I've never once said, Dad, come help me at all. That's the only moment I've had to say, hey, come help me. And now it's the story of a lifetime.
Yeah,
Tells
so
it to
that
everybody. He just
Yeah, so
loves
that
it.
experience, that's when I decided that maybe I would stick with motorcycles instead of buying an alfalfa field or something, because I was like, this is hard,
Yeah.
and you got to do it on your own. I can't do it for you. And so he's learned a lot of lessons that my girls and my other family members have had to learn after they've hit their 20s. Ammon's going through some of these emotions of separation and having to deal with these things that he's had to go overcome, but he's had to do it on his own.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I think moto's a amazing format to build mental toughness. I mean, you
Yeah.
just have to be
Always
mentally
thinking.
tough to do it. Yeah. As I was listening to that story, I was like, oh, I know exactly what Kyle was thinking. Definitely been there a million times. Like, hands across the track, like, come and help. And like, sorry, bud, stand it up. Stand it up. You got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I show up with bikes at the trainer, Kyle Lewis. He's all, you're going to have him train on that bike? And I said, yeah. And he says, I said, what's the problem? And he says, how many hours do I have on it? And I says, about 100 maybe. I'm thinking it goes 200 all day long, right?
Right.
He's all, that thing's clapped out. He says, you're not doing your kid any favors. The only thing you've done is wasted your money to drive him here to me, to pay me on a clapped out bike that won't even hit that double. And so I called my wife. I said, I just got called a bad dad again. And he's right. And she's all, well, go down there and get another bike. So I had to go down. I was in California at the time. I went down there and got another bike.
I myself got a little lecture from Kyle Lewis once too. So yeah, I've been there. I know exactly what to
We love him for those lectures. So at least, on our side, he's so serious and so right most of the time.
Mine was over a tire. I think Logan was just barely on a 65, and we showed up down in Mesquite for a training day with Kyle. And I think I still had the original tire, the original front tire. I'd put an MX-33, I think, at the time on his rear.
Yeah.
But I was like, the front's not that important. He wasn't riding that hard on a 65 yet. And I was like, I think I left the MX-53 that they'd put on from the factory, and Kyle's just like, shaking his head, and he's like, you need to get that tire changed out. MX-34 all day. So yeah, I got the same thing.
Yes, you did. Because this kid gets a fresh tire every race.
Wow.
This one, bad dad.
Yeah,
for
I did
sure.
have to fight that too. I'm like, what do you mean it's not wore out?
I still got most of the knobs. I'm the
Yeah.
same way. Yeah, I still got most of the knobs on there.
So mom got involved, and now I've got a whole bunch of used tires that I think are still brand new. I don't have the heart to throw them away. But
And you can't throw them away. Like the city gets all mad at you if you put them in the dumpster. So yeah, you got to go stuff them around the city.
so might be my next business venture, dealing with used tires.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So you're as a family focused 100%, and then we click over the first of the year. So now you're into the summer series, and I think that's really where things start to pick up steam for you guys, right? Tell us kind of, I guess, as best you can, like what you guys have been doing for like the last 6 months, 7 months. You know where it started? Is there a good starting point?
I don't know.
Well, why don't you start with the Jackrabbit race, because that's what got you prepped for the whole entire year to go to Loretta's. I mean, you had to ride 100 miles multiple times with me.
Wow.
Okay, so I know exactly where to start. I know exactly what stories you want me to tell.
There you go.
So my dad loves riding the new courses. He loves like picking out the trail, doing a different one, right? A thing I don't like is going out 100 times on the same course. If we were doing a different, because we always do a different course on the Jackrabbit stuff. Like, okay, let's see this loop. All right, let's go across the road and do this loop. Like, it's always fun. It's always different. But I hate it when we mark, because we do the same loop over and over and over, and it just get too burned in. I'm like, these pros need to burn it in, not us. Like, we'll ride it once, get it mapped out. But like, that's how my week started. It was just riding the rocks. And then after we got done marking it out, my dad let it loose to my Uncle Billy, and he did the race while we were down in what's it called? Central America.
Okay.
Geography. Yeah. I was looking for a more specific answer than Central America.
You should probably back up, though, because having the Jackmans on, one of their first races in January was the GP.
Yeah.
Ammon and Jackman were
yeah,
neck and neck.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Wow.
was. And it was super cool to watch, because Cohen, I just like, he's one of those, like, it's like Tyler Lynn, one of those local stars, from
Yeah.
Utah. And so it was so fun to watch Ammon and him battle because, Ammon would kick his trash in the desert, but then Cohen would get him in the moto. You know what I mean? And they were literally neck and neck the entire race. It was really super fun to watch, to kind of see maybe where Ammon's at, kind of, see where that, because he's been to Loretta's, he's done this moto thing since he was little. Anyway, that's kind of where it started for me. And then we just kind of, hit as many races. And then I had to pull him off for Central America. And then he came back like 4 days after Central America, and I flew him out to Florida, and he raced Daytona Supercross.
Wow.
And he was gone for a week. And anyway, he can go on. But that's kind of, yeah.
How was Daytona? How was that experience?
Daytona was fun. We got there really early, set up the whole camp with DCR, the Dream Chasers Racing. We did work a little bit of it, but then once
Are you with Dream Chasers?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, we're associated with them for sure.
Okay.
So like wherever they like, we'll see them stuff. But when we were with them at Daytona, that was fun. Amateur day, it was really cool to be there. But I honestly don't like going to watch Supercross. I'd rather see it on TV because you can see so much.
Yeah.
And I'd honestly rather be there, like racing it, than going to watch. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And when we did the amateur day, I was kind of bummed because I had like high expectation for some reason. I was like, man, I get to go race the Supercross track. I was mapping it out on the track walk. I come out and I see it really dulled down. I'm like, okay, I can work with that. They had a good Supercross section though, and that Daytona was just the best experience. Honestly, it was either way. It was just really fun to be there with my mom and dad and watching it with them and being up there with the headset. It was fun.
Nice. How did you do overall? How do you feel about it?
I can't remember, but I felt like I performed pretty good. I mean, I got most of the rhythm sections down that I wanted, and overall, I felt like I rode really good for being off the bike for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Had you rode Supercross style like that before, or was that kind of your first foray into that?
So Riley Bruff actually let me ride the Supercross track in Mesquite,
Mm-hmm.
and so he let me train on that for a little bit and get the rhythms down and all that, and then we left for Central America, and then it came to Daytona. I already knew what to do and stuff, and so it was good. It was a good icebreaker with Mesquite. They have a good track down there.
Right on. Then where did you head after Daytona?
I'm pretty sure we headed down to Texas next. It was Springading and Ponca.
Oh, okay.
Freestone.
Freestone.
Freestone and then Springading.
Gotcha.
So, Freestone was fun.
Was this your first time doing those two?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my first time doing everything
Gotcha.
down in Texas.
Big year here.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, like I said, I did a lot of traveling. And Freestone was really fun. Awesome track. I loved it. I just can't remember mostly from how I placed or anything. I just know I rode good. I was happy to be there. And there were moments where I just was so pissed off because I'd get tired 10 minutes in and I was just mad because I know I was better than that. Then the next moto, I wouldn't even be tired and I'd pushed as hard as I could and it was just be awesome. It was definitely ups and downs in the Texas area because I'd be really tired or I'd just be ready to go again.
Who were some of your biggest competition down there that you were like really trying to compete with?
I was mostly focusing on myself. If I felt like I got a terrible start, I'd want to like try to be up in the top 10 or the top 3. Everyone wants to win.
Sure.
But like I was just comparing myself to me. Like, okay, my lap times were this. Let's try to beat that. Then the next time I'd beat it 5 seconds, and I'm like, okay, we're getting a bit better. And then next time,
do you feel like that helps you stay focused and calm to just kind of worry about you and your lap times and just compete against yourself?
Yeah, in racing, I mostly just try to weave through. And if I don't get a good start, which is not always the goal, but I would just try my best every time.
Is that an intentional strategy that you employ to just kind of stay focused on yourself, or have you had to train yourself to do that, or are there times you start getting wound up and like looking at who's ahead of you and getting in your own head, or you?
There will be kids I know, and I'll be like, okay, they shouldn't be beating me.
Gotcha.
And then there'll also be times where mom's like, just focus on your lap times. You were like, and then she'll tell me you're 150 here. This kid's 140. And he'd have good, like, this would be like the top 2 guys. I'm like, okay, I can knock 10 seconds. And then I'd get it down from a 150 And I'd get 147. I'm like, okay, I'm that much closer. And then I'd get to a 146. I'm like, okay. And then I'd peak out at like 146, and then I'd get mad. I'm like, okay, where are they? What are they doing better?
And then where were you off to after the Texas races?
Then we went to Springading, and Kyle went with him to Freestone, and I went with him to Springading, and that was a mess.
Really?
Our bike blew up.
Oh, no.
And so, you know.
Bad dad
just,
moment?
Like,
Yeah, I changed the oil and forgot to tighten up the drain plug all the
left me
way.
with this.
And so, like, halfway through his practice lap, the plug came out
Oh, no.
and the engine burned up. And she called me frantic and said, "Hey, sweetheart, could you please help me?"
I actually said, "Hey, you mother effer." Like, what'd you leave me effing here for? Okay, let's be real. Okay? We don't have to do the beep beep. But I'm just saying, it was a bad wife moment, maybe. Only because
I don't remember it like that.
whatever. It was crazy because you know how it is. You have VIN numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm new to all this, and I'm trying to calendar, and I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, we have one VIN number. Like, where do I get another VIN number?
Yeah.
It's like, Sadie, just go talk nice to the lady. She'll switch out your VIN numbers. Altus Yamaha is there. Just take the bike up there. Ammon is so calm. Like, he knows when I freak out. Ammon's so calm. He's like, Mom, we
have
got
to be.
this. Yeah,
Then it
he
just
is
stresses
so
her more
calm.
out.
He just went and got a different bike. I traded it out, and we ended up with another $4,000 engine that
Wow.
day, and we had more bikes. Yeah, it's. I posted something and I said, when people say how expensive this year was or whatever, and I'm like, well, is there a price on your goals?
Yeah.
You literally have to zone out, check out, and just go.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out. Your back's up against the wall, so you figure it out. But we were at Springading, and that was fun.
Hey, Supercross was really fun doing
Yeah.
that. You enjoyed that.
That was fun. You made me ride on the back of you.
What's your favorite national, do you think?
Spring Creek.
Spring Creek?
Spring Creek was fun.
Where is that at?
Geography.
that
I can't
Millville?
remember at
The
the top
name
of my
sounds
head.
familiar.
Yeah.
Is
That's
it like a
Mill-
desert race?
Millville? Oh,
Minnesota?
I'd say one of my desert races would be one of the National 100 Hounds in, I believe it was Ponca, actually. No,
Oh.
not Ponca, Panaca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Panaca.
Huh.
And so those desert races are fun. I don't really like the wide open in desert. That's not my thing. There'll be some roads, and most people take breaks, but like if you're wanting to like go for the overall, you have to be wide open.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well, where did you head after the Springading?
straight to Hangtown.
Hangtown, huh?
Yeah, for a different qualifier.
Well, so this was a Loretta qualifier.
Yep.
A regional. How was that one? Is that your first time at Hangtown?
Yeah.
Yeah. That track looks like all business. Was that pretty fun?
Oh, that track, I don't even think I smiled until the whole week was over.
Really?
Yeah. I'd have a tip over, some kid would just sweep me out, and then he'd be dead last, and I'd have to go from last to like 6th and 8th and all that. And I had to make up so much time. My starts are finally really good. And then some kid would just take me out for no reason, and then I'd pass him later on. Like,
Yeah.
it'd kind of be like it was a waste of a takeout, really.
Kind of cutthroat out there, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to make it.
Yeah, everyone's trying to go for it, but honestly, though, if you take someone out, you better make sure they don't pass
Yeah.
you.
That's true.
Because if they pass you, was it worth it?
Did you give it back?
Oh yeah.
Did you?
There were multiple times where you weren't getting around me. I also love it how I see kids rev their bikes
Yeah.
and like yell at you,
Uh-huh.
and if you watch the pros, like they don't say nothing.
Yeah.
They just pass you. So I find that like kind of really funny. So when there's a kid behind me screaming, I just like get around me.
All right.
Like,
Yeah, make it happen. What are you doing back there?
Yeah, right.
Did you make the qualifier? Did you qualify?
down in Hangtown, I was close, but I just got dead. I just got terrible starts because I kept getting taken out. So I'd go from like 12th all the way up to like 8th or 9th, or I'd be like 20th, and then I'd make it up to 9th, and I just had to pass so many people. And then I was first alternate down, and then my mom just like, okay, we'll just see where you're at. And then next thing you know, we're on the riders list.
And where did you head after Hangtown?
After Hangtown, we went straight back to game. I got like 3 days off, and then we went straight back to game and just practice. We didn't even know we qualified for Loretta's, but we still went down for the Loretta training down with Game.
Mm-hmm.
And so after we did all that training, my mom called me after like a hard 25-minute moto and said, "Hey, you made it."
Nice.
How'd you feel when she said that?
Honestly, I've just been manifesting it the whole time. So like I wrote it down every day, like I'll be there, and then I just visualize of what the dirt will smell like and what it feels like to get down there. And so honestly, when she said it, I wasn't surprised, but I was like, oh shoot, I just accomplished my biggest goal. And so it was honestly a really good feeling.
And how many classes did you qualify in?
2. Yeah, I did 450 B mod, and then I did 250 B mod.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right on. And
What was crazy is because he didn't qualify, we brought home the Loretta's modified bike.
okay.
It was home. So he didn't even have the original bike to take to Loretta. So it was crazy. Yeah.
so did you do any other regionals, or because I know some guys they'll do a whole bunch, they'll qualify a whole bunch. Was that it for you, or did you try to pursue any other qualifiers?
Yeah, he did. We did a regional in Neosho, Missouri,
Yeah.
which put us in a position to go to Millville.
Okay.
And so we also qualified in Delta to go to Washougal, which happened to be on the same dates. And so because he was training in Oklahoma, Greg Albertson recommended that maybe he keeps training a couple extra 3 or 4 days there, and then we just drive up to Minnesota and try to qualify in Millville, which the competition was stiff there. But
Yeah.
but he justified it by saying that there were 6 people they took instead of 4. But I mean, that track was gnarly and new to us, and a lot of the factory kids were there, and so I think he rode really well, and it was a great time for us. But because we didn't make it there, I had to drive straight to Sacramento.
Oh wow.
'Cause it
From
was
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah, it was a long drive. We ended on Saturday or Sunday, and I had to be in Sacramento by Thursday.
Jeez.
So that was a long, crazy week. But once we got past that and got past Sacramento, we went right back to Game. Even though he didn't qualify, we were gonna train with them through the Loretta's camp. And in between that, we ended up going to Michigan to Redbud. And I've always wanted to experience that. So my wife's a dream. She likes to make all of her dreams come true. So she bought she registered him to race. So we had an excuse to go there, right? And so he I'll let him tell you about his race there at Redbud. But for July 4th, I was watching fireworks. I didn't go to bed very early, I went to bed very early.
Yeah, we went to bed early. Everyone else partied.
Yeah, that was a crazy party. But it was super fun. They had night races. They had activities all day and all night, and the weather was perfect. And so I recommend going to Redbud. The VIP tent was a game changer because it kept the sun off you, and they fed you drinks and lunch, and you could see every part of the track. And then when you couldn't see it, they had like huge TVs in there. You could watch it.
Nice.
So yeah, it was so fun. But anyway, Ammon raced there.
Yeah, I'd say that one was actually one of my favorites. Now that you bring it up, I honestly forgot it. I don't know why, but that track's like one of my favorites.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of the moment I had of winning down there, or if it was just all in all a great experience.
You won there?
Yeah, so in my 250 class, I had an okay start, obvious, but I took like 4th or 6th coming back. I did tip over. Then my open class against all these 450s, I actually got a great start and just held it.
And then you head back to Sacramento, you said. Was that was for a qualifier too?
I think we were in Redbud just for fun. We were done with qualifying at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, that was during July 4th. I'm pretty sure all the qualifiers were done. Yeah, they were done.
Gotcha. Okay.
We hadn't made Loretta's.
We hadn't made Loretta's yet. We were just still racing. Still, same thing we're going to keep doing the rest of the year.
Right.
Keep racing and riding. But I wanted to go to Redbud. So we drove up there. It wasn't very far from Oklahoma. Oklahoma's kind of a fun little hub.
Is it?
You get to a lot of different tracks, a lot of different unique spots. So yeah, maybe we'll have to go back there.
We had some friends that were training at Tapped House, and that's what they said. They were like, it's good. You can reach the East Coast, and you can reach the West Coast, and yeah, it sounds like it's cool being right there in the Midwest. Yeah,
it is. I'm amazed at how green it is. They don't need. They just use water. These pumps that pump out of some random dirty pond.
Yeah,
that's how they wet their tracks. And that's only if it doesn't rain a couple days before. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's great.
So is it hard to balance school in between all this racing that you've been doing?
Not really. Due to online, I was able to do it on the weekends or on Sunday. I just get caught up, and I get online is just really easy. I was able to get a month ahead in like a day, and I was able. It was really easy most of the time. I did have to get really laid back. Like I was behind on most classes, but the teachers were great. They moved me forward on everything. Like they'd give me some weird essay, and I was about me, and I'm like, and I always think you're not gonna see me, meet me, or anything. So I'm like, can you just move me forward? They would, and they were just really good to work with. And so school, and it was pretty easy to balance and everything.
So after you finished at Redbud, this is July 4th, you said?
Yeah.
So you've got about 2 weeks, 3 weeks until Loretta's, is that right?
At this point, we don't even know if he made it.
Oh, is that right?
We actually just saw him on alternate list. So I thought, well, we'll just pay for it and get ourselves ready just in case. And we did consider being an alternate, and then we talked about it, and we have a daughter serving a mission in New York as a historic site missionary. And I said, we're not going to be alternates. We're not going to sit in some circle and wait our turn. So we're going to go to New York and go see my daughter and, let her do our tours. And, but I thought, well, I better wait to book tickets for that until the finals come out, right? Till the roster comes out. Then the roster came out, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is crazy. And I just started to cry because I just thought this kid has been manifesting this for over a year. He's only been riding moto for a year and a half, and he's literally had to come from behind, and he's been chasing a dream, but he's been training with Max Shane and all these fast kids that have just, are all factoried, and it was really kind of a privilege for me to watch because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard, and they get hurt, and they break things, and they crack things, and, you don't know how to heal them, and you got to get them back on their bike. And that's when am I pushing them too hard? Like I think he did break his hand in Spring Creek at Millville. I think he did crack it, and I have no idea yet because I said, you got to ride. I can't take you to the doctors. We're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, okay, he's there and here we go, and then you have to watch everybody else and like, what are they doing? Okay, we're going to get an ice chest pack. Deegan wears an ice pack,
yeah.
For these hot races. So you start ordering things and you just start making sure now all the little details are covered. And I don't know, it was pretty cool. So.
Was it pretty chaotic getting ready for that and putting everything together and getting ready for that trip?
I just hooked up the truck to the trailer. Yeah. I'd already been called a bad dad quite a few other times. And the bike that he had, like I say, our Loretta bike was already in St. George. And so I already messed that up. And we had just bought a bike to train just for the Loretta camp for 6 weeks. Which, by the way, I'd love to talk about that some more. That was, from my perspective, that was insane. But anyway, so that bike had about 15, 18 hours on it. So all I did is just change out the clutch plates.
Right.
And told him he has to just ride it. Was it even modified? Which is what I've been telling him on his desert bikes for the last 3 years. Just ride it.
Yeah.
The clutch lever falls off. Just ride it.
Yeah.
You got to finish the race. And so, which is a little different in moto. They want you to pull off when things break on your bike, but in desert, you got to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so no, it wasn't stressful. He was already living in the trailer. We had to stop and get a few groceries. That was stressful, navigating my trailer into some, into town.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, no, it wasn't stressful getting ready.
That's good.
Well, what's the hardest part overall in this year that led up to getting to Loretta's? Like, what was the hardest part doing that?
Biggest challenge?
Yeah.
I'd say the discipline, like just getting up. I hated hearing that alarm clock.
Yeah.
I hated it. I really did. Every time I heard it, I'm like, well, you can't stop now. You're only halfway there. And I just kept thinking of the kids that I knew some of them, like I knew of them. I was just thinking, man, what if they're getting up at this time? What if they're doing this? And I just hated hearing that alarm clock. Hated it. So I think that was the hardest part. It was just waking up on the first ring.
So you guys are up at Redbud, and then you find out that you made it, but you headed back to Oklahoma. Is that right? That's right. You weren't able to come back here. You just hooked up the trailer in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we went straight back from Redbud to straight back to Oklahoma and left it there we already planned on being there.
Gotcha.
We'd already been there a week or two before training at the moto camp, or the Loretta camp, I call it.
Do you want to talk about that training camp?
Do you want me to talk about it, or you want to fill in some stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, I've been to summer camp before. I've seen, some of the Boy Scout, overnighters. I can show up and wing it here a little bit. And that's not the case when it comes to Loretta camp. In fact, Greg Albertson pulled me aside and he says, listen, you're going to do this camp. He says, I'd like to see Ammon not have to pull off and, have a problem with his motorcycle, every couple days. He's all, can you get him a new one? And I'm like, so that's why he had a fairly fresh bike, because I had to, he requested that I get him a fresh bike.
Right.
And so that was the first thing. And the second thing is you could tell the kids that were there to kind of hang out and have fun afterwards and go to the mall on the weekends, and the kids that were there to like get ready for Loretta's. Mm-hmm. And there was a very distinct difference. You could see that they were training. You could see them jogging up and down the road afterwards. I like to tease Ammon a little bit because Greg Dorenzo was his sports trainer, and he had a workout every day, and it was customized around Ammon. In fact, that guy came out for 3 days and put sensors on the kids' arms to track how much sweat they were extracting during their workouts for a 25-minute moto.
Right. So
he could devise a very custom hydration plan for them. And then he had us do IVs, and they did ask them a bunch of questions and weighed them and did all their little body fat stuff. And he devised a very, very, very specific, I mean, you ought to see this thing by every 2 hours of what he should be eating and why.
Wow.
Like what was one of the things you had to eat during Loretta's? They made you eat something in addition to your food.
It was pretzels.
Pretzels. Yeah, he wanted him to eat pretzels because it slowed down the water just going right through you.
Oh, yeah.
It made anyway, he had a reason behind all this stuff. And this is a guy that Greg Albertson highly recommended to all the kids that were there. They also use this sports trainer. You can use whoever you want, but we signed on because we don't know any different. And this guy has an app that he wanted the kids to put down everything they ate throughout the day. So when I'm not on the diet, so I've got Oreos and various good candy there, and once in a while Ammon would. I mean, it's kind of an inside joke. Once in a while, he would sneak an Oreo, and I'd say, hey, you going to put that in the app?
It was recommended to put things in the app,
right?
Like what you're having for dinner, lunch, breakfast, like snacks, and also that. Nobody was putting in what they're actually eating. Everyone didn't want to put in their snacks. I know a couple kids that were like, I'm not putting that in there.
We take a picture of a Dr. Pepper on somebody's back porch, and I'm like, is he putting that in the app? You know what I mean? But And so it was kind of our inside joke, right? And so it would make him think, okay, I'm going to eat this, but my dad's going to make me be accountable for it. Then Greg Dorenzo is going to be sending me a text message because he would watch.
Yeah.
He was watching when these kids were eating.
Wow.
And he was calling them on a conference call once a week. He was texting them constantly throughout the whole entire 6-week camp. He showed up to Loretta's, in fact. Well, I can get into that later too. But he was so heavily invested as if they were like LeBron James.
Yeah.
And he was their trainer. I mean, this guy was off the rails. And so I was super grateful that we even got introduced to him and his app and his training system and his hydration and his meal plan and everything that he did. So anyway, so that just was the meal part of it. But then I was there with watching Greg Albertson just spend lots of money. I know a little bit about dirt work, and he was having truckload after truckload after truckload of sand and wood shavings and all kinds of random things brought into his course. And I hope I'm okay to talk about this. And I'm watching this and I'm like, this guy's bringing in thousands of dollars of dirt, maybe hundreds of thousands of 10-wheelers in and out. And he was after hours, or in the mornings, he was spreading it out in certain spots. And I'm not kidding you. I watched the braking bumps and the ruts develop at his course way before I got to Loretta's, almost identical.
Wow.
And so.
Yeah, because he has a replica course, right?
Yeah. But it wasn't just a replica course. It was also a replica course with the same conditions.
Gotcha.
With the dirt and how those things develop. And so when I watched these kids launch this several triples, and into a sand turn that Loretta's has, I was like, what are they doing? And then I saw that same exact thing and saw Max Shane and Kane and all these kids just hitting that thing the same exact way they had done 6 weeks before.
Nice.
Just launching it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're right at home here. Yeah. It was no different. The sand developed the same way through the whole entire thing, the same way he wouldn't prep it 3 or 4 days. Wouldn't prep it. It would develop the same exact way.
Wow.
So yeah, I think he's got a really niche thing there.
That's cool.
And he cared.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my perspective. And I saw kids coming in and they took it super serious. And then I saw some other kids, they put their time in. I saw some kids when they first got there, they were throwing up on the side of the track. They were hot, tired.
Yeah,
they were out of shape. It was like the craziest football camp you've ever been a part of. So
that's awesome.
So
that got you ready pretty good. Now tell us about the show. I guess the next stop is the big show, huh?
Yeah, Loretta's was great. I mean, for some reason on practice, it just took me a little bit minute to get ready, like on the track, just feeling it out. And then by the time I hit second practice, I was like, I know what I'm doing. And then when it got to race day, I was a little late. I forgot my trance. No, that's a different day. The first day I was late because people get there like 2 hours before the race, and they just hang in the racer's lounge. And I didn't know that. I'm used to the show up like 10 minutes before, right? The local stuff. And so it turns out I had a 6th place gate pick, and when I got there, I was late, so I was last gate pick. And so I was always on the outside box. I'd have a good 36 or a 33, and starts were actually fairly good. I did have on my first day, I did have to help a kid get a bike off of him, and so that kind of set me back a bit. But all in all of the races I put in, the laps, I was really happy with. There was one moto where I was like, man, I could have pushed harder than that. Yeah, but all in all, I was really happy of how I did.
That's awesome. What was your overall takeaway from Loretta's, I guess?
Like good, like what the experience I had?
Yeah, just
in general.
Just overall. I mean, everything. I mean, you've got the racing for sure. You're seeing some big names for sure. It's chaos, you usually have a whole bunch of pros that show up, I mean, just the whole thing, how did being your first time, what was just kind of your overall experience?
I don't really get starstruck easy, but when I saw that Loretta sign, I was excited.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just walking in and seeing it and just knowing I'm here to race. It was just the best feeling ever. And honestly, the Loretta experience wouldn't be the best without my brother, Willie.
Yeah.
Just having him there is just always fun. Always a character, always has a funny story. It was just, he makes the whole races fun.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we need to make sure Willie goes with Ammon next time, because right behind where you stage, they had a monster air-conditioned area where you could go in there and play Fortnite or watch Racer TV or drink, water that said Monster on it. And so Willie had discovered that way before the race even started. He was hanging out with all the racers. And so, yeah, we started sending Ammon in there way early while I held his bike outside to stay cool and hang out with Willie and watch Racer TV.
That's cool.
Somehow he found that on his own. I don't know how.
He'll take that golf cart and just travel. He'll knock on people. Well, he won't knock on people's doors, but he'll just peek his head in, and if he sees a monster in the fridge, he'll take it.
Nice. Well, what's your goals for the next 6 months?
Next 6 months, just to go back on the grind. I just want to win now. I already accomplished Loretta's. I know where I'm at. Now I just want to win.
Where's the grind going to be for the next 6 months? Is that here, or are you guys headed back to a facility?
I think the plan is to go back to game.
Really?
Yeah, that's the next step, is to go back to game and train hard there.
Gotcha. You going to do Ponca?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan.
Right on.
Is your goal to get like top 5 at Loretta's, top 3?
Yeah, so yeah, that's the plan. I just want to do better than I did last year.
Yeah.
Like I'll take a 20th overall. Oh, I'll take that. But now I know where I'm at. I want to try to get top 10.
It's definitely cool to go there your first time and kind of see like, okay, against all these national kids, here's where I am. And, and you can really see the work you got to do. It really kind of solidifies. Yeah.
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 That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your goal? Where do you see yourself like in the next 5 years?
I just know on these coming years, I'm going to be planning on going on an LDS mission. And then also the plan is just to see the country with my dad and basically do that by racing everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the goal right now. 2 years on a mission, and then the next is just to go racing again when I get back.
I always tell my wife that. She always says, I want to go on trips. I want to go on vacation. I'm like, let's do that with the bikes.
Yeah.
And she just, she can't stand it. I'm like, come on, let's go to these new places and let's take the bikes. Let's ride a track.
Yeah. Go to Hawaii, just bring the track.
There you go.
Yeah, I have loved traveling with Ammon, and sometimes I love Sadie when she flies in. There's a lot of times that I wouldn't want her in the car because I can drive. I drove 2 18-hour straight days going from Minnesota to Sacramento, and that's not a fun.
No.
It's not a fun trip.
No.
And so, but I like having a destination to end up at. And so we're hoping to hit Ponca. We're hoping to hit maybe Mini-O's down in Florida this year, and a couple other race tracks are in between, and take some time doing it. So, and see some of the country. I was able to see a cousin back in Arkansas that I haven't seen, and stopped in and visited for a minute. And I don't know, I probably have relatives all over the world I just haven't looked up. So might be a good reason to stop in and see somebody.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You
As
guys,
long as they have my motorcycles in the back of the truck.
there you go. For sure. You guys have had quite a wild journey, especially this last 6 months. You've packed a lot in, so it's really cool to see the progress that you've made and hear the story. And I hope that I hope to see you grind and get there again and make those manifestations come true. I think that's awesome that you guys do that. And
Yeah.
Keep it up, man.
Thank you. I will.
You guys, we've been going for about an hour and 30 minutes. Do you guys want to kind of wrap it up at this point, you think? Or is there some other stuff you want to cover?
I think you need to talk to Sadie about how she came up with the name and brand Ohana Racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is it
It's a good story.
It's the 5
Unless you guys
a.m.
don't wanna know.
series?
No, that's the name of your race team, it seems like. So yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, this is
Are we
our
talking
race
about-
team.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Are we
It's the
talking
3
about
of
the
us.
slogan of why we have 5 a.m. series?
I'll tell you about it.
Are we talking about the slogan or how we got Ohana?
Hopefully you can piece this together properly.
Yeah.
So, first of all, Ohana, means family. Nobody gets left behind. But we were at a National Hare and Hound, and there was some racers on the line, and these were kids. They were, on 85s, and one of our really good friends. Moto's interesting. You get friends and then you lose friends.
Yeah.
Depends on whether you beat them or not.
Right.
Right?
exactly.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but these guys, were good friends, and and their son was lined up on the line, and this pro.
Yeah.
This
It's
pro.
a good one.
Tell the story.
Yeah, it might be better if you tell. You might need to just cut the whole thing.
Okay, so what happened was a big bike was lined up on the starting line of the mini race. And so they did the minis early in the morning. And so we see this, I get up there to line up. It's like a big, long bomb start. So the start is maybe 100 yards wide, right? And you get up there and pick your spot, whether you're more in the middle, on the right, or the left, depending on the wind and all these other things. Well, you see this big bike sitting there, so everybody lines up in front of it because we're on minis. Well, long story short, that big bike was saving a spot for a mini rider. And that guy comes in and he gets super upset that somebody had taken his spot, even though the whole line was right in front of his bike all the way down. And so he started, getting really loud and wanting to fight some people that were close to his bike. And Sadie stepped in and she started recording, and she says, "Listen, why are you so upset? You're upset right in front of all the kids here, and we're having fun. And we were super new to the racing scene anyway." Mm-hmm. And he's all, "Well, it's because you guys don't take this thing serious like I do." And she says, "Well, what do you mean? We're all here." And you see a guy in the background holding an umbrella. "We have our umbrellas. We have our race gas. What do you mean we're not serious?"
Okay. So let me take it from here before he gets too crazy. Okay. And the only reason I said those things is because I think it was probably my third race I'd ever been to. So I'm a new mom to this and just so excited to watch your little boy race, you know? And he makes a comment like, "Well, you're not 5 a.m. serious." Now, to be fair, he and I are friends, okay? Because it did get a little bit more crazy than what we like, but it was good. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start me a race team. Ohana Racing with 5 a.m. Are you 5 a.m. serious? So that's why on the back of your shirts, you'll see, "Are you 5 a.m. serious?"
Oh, okay.
Not because we get up at 5 a.m., but because you have to be 5 a.m. serious to ride dirt bikes
Right.
and in motocross. And this guy and his wife, they're the most kindest people. I just talked to her the other day. They're expecting their 4th child. And the sweetest people. And he was just having a bad day. And we've talked about this multiple times. And, and we all have those bad days, those bad dad moments, and those just, you're just wanting to do the best thing for your kid, and I was probably in the wrong for video recording it, which it has not gone anywhere. Let me make that clear. Okay. It's in my possession.
It's in the blackmail archive.
Yes, because we all have those moments, that are hard. And so that's where Ohana Racing came from. But we also, I feel like he's so good with helping people. Everybody knows they can go to the black trailer and find Rocky Mountain ATV inside that trailer when we're at races. Like Kyle has everything for every bike, KTM, because we ride a lot, And so he's just really good at helping everybody. And that's hard for me sometimes because I want him to just stay focused on my kid.
Right.
And there's appropriate times and inappropriate times to help. And he doesn't sometimes know when those are. And I have to say, stay focused. There's your kid, But he's just really good at helping and, wants to see everybody do good and have what they need. And I don't know how many things you've loaned out to people that you haven't gotten back, like brake levers that people have lost on the trail, or anything, And so anyway, that's where Ohana came from.
That's cool. That's a cool story. I've heard that about you, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that speak very highly of you and has said that exact same thing, that you've been a big help. And so that's cool. That's cool to be that kind of influence and that kind of person in this. So,
well, I have my problems, but the thing is, when it comes to motorcycles, it's an instantaneous common ground.
Right.
Right. And I know how hard it is and how expensive it is. And it's super hard. I would never want somebody not to be able to compete or ride even because of a small little tube or a chain issue or something that's so minute, right?
Right.
And so anyway, and I know, and I was that kid that probably had, some more issues and I had a lot of relatives that helped me fix that. So
very cool.
Yeah.
But
well, guys, before we close it out, do you guys have any sponsors or people you want to thank or anything like that?
Yeah. I'd like to thank Altus, Schmidt Suspension. They help out a lot. Kyle Lewis, Greg Albertson, and Riley Bruff. They help a lot. And Greg Dorenzo. Oh, he's really good. And then I'd like to thank DDC, Bulletproof Designs, Intech, just everyone else that's helped me. Thank you.
Nice. How about you? You guys got anybody in particular?
I just want to thank Sadie. She puts the woman's touch on everything that we're doing, and so I'm glad she's here to support us. So
As long as we don't thank the girlfriend, right?
yeah, the one thing that Ammon's not ever allowed to think is that his girlfriend.
I don't have one,
Yeah.
but we've heard so many people just go, "Oh, they're my girlfriend."
I want to thank my girlfriend.
I want to thank my girlfriend for helping.
I'm always
out.
like, what did she do?
Right.
She watches them. Makes little videos, you know.
We haven't reached that stage yet, so that's a first. I haven't heard that. You better not start doing that.
Doing what?
You don't need one of those.
There's a time and season, right?
That's right.
We just want to thank you guys for what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're promoting our sport,
Well, I appreciate that.
and
Yeah.
and I love listening to what you're doing, and you're making the local kids feel like superstars, and I just think that is going to go a long ways for them in their future. So
Well, we really appreciate to hear that.
Yeah.
We really appreciate the support. We love hearing that you guys listen to the show, and
Yeah.
that always does our heart good. Sometimes it feels like we're just over here in the wilderness, just speaking to an empty void. It's sometimes, so it's nice
you
to
are.
hear.
You're
when-
in Enoch, Utah.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, you guys, and it's cool to hear your story. Excited to see where you go from here, and you guys have a really cool race team. It's cool to hear, your whole story, and so yeah, we want to thank you guys for being on the show, and you want to close it out from here.
Well, that's it for this episode on the Holeshot Hustle, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for being on, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
appreciate you guys.
Take care.